Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the control, the incredible, the stunning, breathtaking control the globalists have achieved over the Western world and the entire body politic and the media, the institutions. It's just total, and it's again, it still amazes me how they're able to do this with such totality and completeness. If someone had asked me 25 years ago, was this even possible, remotely possible, I'd have laughed it off as that couldn't be done. We've just got too many institutions in the West to protect against that sort of thing. The whole political structure of voting and democracy and candidate selection and all these, the independent courts, rule of law, due legal process, all the institutions that are independent, and it just couldn't happen. I'd have said to somebody 25 years ago. But look how it is today. And just a few examples here I'll go through. One was the recent speech that Zelensky made to the United States Congress. Now, not many foreign leaders, in fact, very few, accorded the prestige and dignity of addressing the US Congress. But Zelensky is one of the few, very few that have. Winston Churchill was another. Now, to compare Zelensky to Winston Churchill was what the globalist media were told to do with the talking points is beyond, it transcends the absurd. What told to do with the talking points is beyond, it transcends the absurd and the ridiculous. But here you've got a corrupt basket case, third world, banana type republic where Zelensky has ordered the arbitrary imprisonment of political opponents, arbitrary imprisonment of those with alternative points of view, arbitrary imprisonment of religious figures, the suppression of religion, just the level of corruption in the place, and the goons and the parasites. And yet that guy is given a fawning appearance in the US Congress. And the end of his bullshit speech, which is give me more money and I don't have to be accountable for a penny of it, his bullshit speech. Then the entire Congress is on their feet, clapping their asses off for this corrupt third world tin pot. I mean, again, it just shows you. But what this illustrates isn't the standard of the political stature of Zelensky. The opposite. He's now to work fucking comedian, for Christ's sakes. But it indicates the control that the globalists have of the entire American political establishment. I think there was only a handful of congressmen that didn't applaud or stand and applaud. I mean, none of them should have stood and applauded, but there was only a handful that didn't, and they were instantly and immediately condemned by the mainstream globalist-controlled mainstream media as being, Nazis, the normal stuff, fascists and so on. So this is the extent of the control. They can have every member of the Congress standing up, or pretty much every member of the Congress standing up, clapping like seals on demand, and based on the orders. We're ordering you to stand and clap. No matter what this guy says or does, you damn well fucking clap. We're in charge here. We're the globalists and we're in charge. Don't you damn well forget it. And that's so they're getting up and applauding. It's insane. Now, there's also another example is the stunning revelations of the Twitter files that are showing just how corrupt and how cronyistic the deep state establishment is in the social media space, deliberately, whilst at the same time denying they're doing it, deliberately banning anti-globalist voices or anyone that questions the globalization project, and artificially boosting those who support the globalization project, and just installing propaganda and all sorts of things all over the media landscape. Not one of the major globalist-controlled media corporations, mainstream media corporations, has gone anywhere near this Twitter files. None. Even the ones that are government funded and have a charter, it's in their charter, they're legally obligated to be objective. None of them have even mentioned the Twitter file, not a word. Again, that shows you the control the globalists have. But it goes deeper in all areas of the political establishment. I mean, here's an example here in England. Now, here's an Indian guy who came to England when he was 10 years old with his family. As far as I'm aware, the migration was legal, and now his family's clearly been identified as being creating a poster child. They want him as a poster child. So. Now today he's a politician, very very deep in the British political establishment, but he still wears his Indian national dress. He still is a very devout in pursuit of his Indian religion. This is in England, by the way, and yet he's given a very well-paid, prestigious position in the British political establishment while he walks around in his Indian dress and going to his Indian religious temples and so on. He was given some sort of a politically correct affirmative action scholarship and got some sociology degree or something, some fifth-tier university, and then he came out of university and straight away he starts up a company supplying security guards to various government buildings and so on. And he as a young man in his early 20s is awarded this monopoly contract, this exclusive contract to supply security guards. Now, there was no bid or tender process or anything that you'd say would be a normal process for government, and he's paid handsomely for this. As I understand it, there was no competitive rates at all, and so he wins this, and then uses this as a pretext to bring out more of his buddies from India to work as security guards. Now, again, he does the usual sort of Indian trick of bringing out the peasants from the rural areas to work for shit money, and he puts them up in $50 a room accommodation and deducts that from their pay. The typical immigrant labour hire scam goes on there, but somehow this isn't bothered with. He's got that contract for quite a while. Then he's given a job, and he's elected to public office. And lots of allegations of impropriety, bribes, and sexual deviancy, so on. And none of that seems to go anywhere, and the Department of Prosecutions doesn't seem to want to pursue it. He's accusing everyone of racism, of course, during this time. Now he's in quite a senior political position, and is pushing all the entire globalist talking points. I mean, he's definitely a globalist employee. He runs around making all these speeches supporting mass immigration. No immigration is illegal, and all this sort of stuff. He visits and all this sort of stuff. He visits the illegal alien camps in mainland Europe and goes around at British taxpayers' expense, talking about the evils of racism and how we have to let them all into Britain and this sort of thing. So it's very much a propaganda spruiker for the globalist cause, and is also has recently embraced radical feminist causes as well, which is given his religious and racial affiliations is a bit of a stretch. But anyway, he's embraced radical feminism. He runs around now telling everyone that, telling all men, or particularly white men, that they're all misogynists and they better shape up, because this is a new world order where respect for women is the most important thing next to mass illegal migration, or maybe the other way around. I don't know. But all this, saying this guy wouldn't have had a snake, still got an Indian accent. this guy wouldn't have had a snowball's chance of getting elected to anything in a sane real world. Nor do we have the mass migration, illegal or otherwise. Nor would he have made it into, nor would he have won that contract. The whole thing is affirmative action on steroids. But again, it illustrates the power that the globalists have. The globalists have got so much power, they can put an Indian guy in as prime minister of the United Kingdom without even a vote. Not even the parliamentary members were given a vote on this. The globalists just installed him as the prime minister, and naturally he's pushing all the globalist issues as hard as he can. I mean, he doesn't represent the British public and the British people and the British voters. He's an employee of the globalists, and he's doing what the globalists are telling him to do, as indeed is the entire US Congress. But I just wanted to sort of do this video to illustrate the extent and the reach and the completeness and the totality of the globalist takeover. Truly awesome. You've been a Tacitus today at your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.